now, welcome to 580 Sports Talk on a Wednesday afternoon, and bring out the brooms for the boys in blue, sweeping away the Detroit Tigers after sweeping the A's. How about a perfect 6-0 homestand for the Kansas City Royals? Vibes are high, 32 wins through 51 games.
I have just one question for you, Brendan. Can you confirm that the boys are playing ball?
The boys are playing some ball. What a win.
You know the vibes are high, like stratospherically high, when there's a catchphrase.
Yes. An organic one, too.
Yes.
Something Bobby Witt just made up.
And now there are T-shirts and a hashtag. And the Latino guys in the team are saying it in broken English. I think Freddie Fermin went with the guys are playing ball today, which that's fine. Good enough. Yeah, man, this is fun.
Yep.
This is really fun. Be a lot more fun if Cleveland would lose.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be helpful.
Chill out, dude.
The only hotter team in the American League than the Royals is the Cleveland Guardians, 9-1 in their last 10.
Of course. Isn't that always how it works out? But the Royals have won 6 in a row. They go perfect on the homestand against the A's and the Tigers. That's big against the Tigers. You want to push them down the ladder. They're reaching up to try to catch up to you, kick them back down the ladder. That's exactly what the Royals were able to do today. They are 32-19. We will break down last night's win and today's win as well, coming up here in just a few moments. Also in this first hour of the show, we've got What Is Wrong With You and the Wildcat Wrap-up. Tim Fitzgerald is going to join us on the program on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. K-State baseball with a big win today. They scored 7 runs, all in what, or 7 of their 8 runs came in one inning, an inning in which they had 4 hits. 7 runs, 4 hits in one inning. That's also because they were walked 6 times.
That's a lot of walks.
Yuck. I'm not going to lie. I had not watched West Virginia baseball all year until today, and I'm glad I will not be seeing any more of them. Yuck.
Well, they're probably going to make the NCAA tournament.
Well, yeah, they'll make the tournament, but I'm not going to watch it. Any college baseball NCAA tournament I'm watching will be because KU or K-State. K-State. It won't be KU, but because they're in it. I'm glad I'm not going to watch any more West Virginia. They're pitching not very good. So K-State got a big win today. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more with Tim Fitzgerald coming up in the 4 o'clock hour today, just about 15 minutes from now. Also, we've got our 580 Sports Talk headlines. We'll hear from Andy Reid. We'll hear from Patrick Mahomes. That's coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. And, of course, we will take your texts to the Top City Metal Supply text line, 785-272-9429, and your comments on YouTube as well, 580 Sports Talk, the name of the YouTube channel. Heck of a win for the Royals last night. Heck of a win for the Royals today. The pitching has been very good overall. Cole Reagans today was a superstar. Bobby Witt Jr. yesterday was a superstar. 3 for 4, 2 home runs, a steal, 6 RBIs, an infield single. He did it all yesterday.
One of those home runs ought to have been worth 2, as well as he hit it 468 feet into a portion of the fountains you don't see a lot of batted balls hit into.
Nope.
Like, you don't see it go up to that level of the fountains all that often.
No, you do not.
And then he went and got another one later in the game. Ended up with 10 RBI on the homestand with 2 more today.
Yeah.
A couple more big ones after the Tigers had closed within 4-2, threatened to make this a tighter game. Bobby throws out a 2-run singles, part of a 4-run 7th, and the Royals kind of ease to it from there. There aren't more fun players in the league that you don't need more than one hand to count the guys who are more fun to watch than Bobby Witt Jr. And his enthusiasm and his excitement just seems to permeate that entire roster. They play with a similar verve.
And he did it again today. He goes 2 for 4 in the game. The double he hit in the, 7th inning? 7th inning.
Yes.
For 90% of players in Major League Baseball, that's a single. 95. And he is thinking double as soon as he made contact
out of
with
the
that
box.
ball.
Yeah.
He was digging for 2. He gets there. The way he plays, like his style, his verve, as you say, the vibe around him is fun. He just plays fun baseball. He's incredible in the field. He's got power. He's got speed. He is a star. And then you have an ace pitcher who has a fun style of pitching as well. Because when I think fun pitching, I think strike dudes out all the time. Cole Reagans today, and I have so much regret about this game because his strikeout total, according to all the sports books today, was 6.5. And I feel so guilty that I did not put every single cent. I did not mortgage my house, take out a second mortgage. I did not borrow a bunch of money to put it all on Cole Reagans over 6.5 strikeouts today because I should have. He struck out 12 in 6 innings. He had 7 through 3. He is a machine on the mound. And when he gets going, he is close to unhittable. This today was the best we've seen from Cole Reagans. And we've seen a lot of good from Cole Reagans. And this was the best of the best.
So first inning, first couple of fastballs from Cole Reagans coming in at 94 miles an hour. And that got my attention a little bit because I know that Cole Reagans can get to 98, 99. He's hit triple digits before. I know Cole Reagans has a big fastball. And he's throwing 94 in the first inning. And I'm thinking, is everything okay? You have to think that a little bit. It lives in the back of your mind every time Cole Reagans throws a baseball because he's already had 2 Tommy John surgeries. So I'm thinking, is he all right? Is he loose? What's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
And then as I watched him throughout the outing, and as I watched, I believe it was his 98th or 99th pitch of the game was a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. And then the pitch right after that was 96 up in the zone for his 12th strikeout as he finished that 6th inning. I said, no, nothing's wrong. What this young man is doing, it's a rare thing these days. You don't see it often. So it stands out when you do see it. It's this rare thing called pitching. That's what Cole Reagans is doing. He's not redlining the odometer every time he rears back and throws his fastball. He's not trying to blow 98, 99, 99, 99. I got to have my best fastball. No, he's going to establish his fastball and all of his other pitches anywhere in the zone. And when he needs 96, 97, 98, it's there for him. He can reach back for a little something extra. That's called pitching, guys. And not only was Cole pitching, he was dominating. 12 strikeouts, 3 walks. I didn't think he had spectacular command. I thought the strike zone was a little tight on him as well at times, but he was mixing his pitches really well. The changeup is such a weapon against right-handed pitchers, or right-handed batters, I should say. And he threw some good sliders, had a couple of good curveballs, but by and large, he was working off his fastball. And being able to have the fastball you can locate, which is still a pretty good speed, 94, 95, and then being able to ramp it up with 2 strikes, ramp it up with runners on, get the punch out, get the swing and miss. Man, that's art. That's craft. This dude is the real thing. And to rise to the occasion in this matchup of aces between him and Tarek Skubal, to know going in, I got to be on my A game today. And then he was every bit of his A game today. Super performance from him. Another 6-inning start for the Royals. So they don't have to slag their bullpen too bad. Just an outstanding way to close out the second perfect homestand of the season for the Royals. Remember, they went 7-0 against Chicago and Houston back in April. Multiple perfect homestands of 6 or more games. It is not Memorial Day yet, and they've already accomplished that twice.
All you could do is just keep letting them stack and stack and stack and stack and stack, because it's a marathon, not a sprint. Something eventually is going to happen, and you want to be prepared by having wins in the bank, and that's what they're doing.
You want to especially get the ones against the division. And the Tigers were a team that coming into this year, and are the win totals, are the Vegas numbers, everything? No, certainly not. But this is a team that was expected to be right around 500. The Royals, if you want to take our aggregate win projection, right around 78 wins. You want to be able to win the games against those teams, your peers, and specifically in the division. If you think you've got a chance to win the division, and there's no reason to think the Royals can't do that right now, you've got to win the games against your divisional opponents. So to be able to do that against Detroit, that is a really big deal. And to take advantage of their best pitcher, Skubal obviously did not have his best stuff today. He is really, really good. Even after giving up 4 earned runs in 5 innings, his ERA is now a crisp 2.25 this season. He's really dang good. So to be able to take advantage of him, to be able to jump on him fairly early, put up 2 runs in the second inning, that's effectively all you needed. Really impressive stuff for this offense again. So Reagan's obviously the story of the day because he was dominant, but you really love to see them be able to put up a few runs and plenty of hits on a guy who, more often than not, is going to pitch a lot better than that.
And contributions up and down the order. Nelly Velasquez going yard against Skubal. Good to see him get off a couple of good swings. He didn't play every game in the homestand, but he had 2 multi-hit games on the homestand. Maybe that's a good sign that he can turn the corner. Garrett Hampers an RBI early on in the game to help stake Reagan's to that lead in the 2-run second inning. Good to see that from a guy who's been a short side platoon piece and has struggled to start the season. All the way up and down. You got contributions on this homestand from just about every single guy on the 26-man roster, and that's how you go 6-0 on a homestand. Now, if only somebody would beat the dang Guardians, man.
Yeah, of course.
They won again today, came back from 3-0 down. The Mets are wretched. Like, Cleveland and Minnesota got to beat up on the dregs, not quite the dregs in the National League East because Miami's still the worst team in that division. But obviously Washington's not playing real well. Sorry, Spencer. The Mets aren't playing real well, and Minnesota and Cleveland took advantage. Both of them won today. But nothing you can do about that until you play them, right?
Nope.
And they're going to get a crack at Minnesota next week. 4 games at Target Field Monday through Thursday. But it's a 6-team playoff field, and right now the Royals, I think as it currently stands, they're 5.5 clear of a playoff spot. For a playoff spot, I should say. 5.5 games clear. That's a big cushion for May 22nd.
Yes, it's a huge cushion. And again, like Spencer said, keep winning, keep stacking them up. You're going to be in a pretty good spot come the September stretch, even the late August stretch, and hopefully into October as well. We'll talk some more Royals baseball later on today. Right now, though, we've got to get to a break. That'll be followed by What Is Wrong With You, and then Tim Fitzgerald for the Wildcat Wrap-up here on a shortened edition on this Wednesday of 580 Sports Talk. What is wrong with you time on 580 Sports Talk? Shortened edition of the show today. We'll talk to Tim Fitzgerald here in just a few minutes. First, though, we'll see if either of our 2 stories today can take down the finger gun holdup. A guy was mad that he couldn't get his food at Wendy's right away in the drive-thru, and they said, hey, will you pull forward for a minute? So he took his shirt off, or maybe he was already shirtless, walked into the Wendy's, hopped up on a table, and then threatened the workers there with his guns, his finger guns. Dan, why don't you go first today?
We're going to Pennsylvania, where a professional clown is facing charges after meeting an undercover officer during a prostitution sting. This is according to the Carbondale Police Department in Lackawanna County, Pennsylvania. Sunday, May 18th, officers began an undercover investigation regarding prostitution. On an online website, officers say they found a man, later identified as 28-year-old Francis Bowie of Scranton, advertising himself under the escort section of the site. Police stated they contacted Bowie to set up an appointment, and Bowie agreed to, let's just say, the terms of the appointment as agreed upon at a hotel at the city. The undercover officer met Bowie, and he was arrested on the scene. Bowie told police it was the first time he'd offered prostitution services. He knew it was wrong. Bowie also told officers he performs as the amazing Franco and just got back from traveling with the circus. He was charged with promoting prostitution. It's hard out here.
At the circus?
No, I don't believe so. It is hard out here for a clown, apparently.
I'm anti-clown. I think clowns are creepy and weird. So I'm just going to put that out there right now. I'm a very anti-clown.
I have probably alluded to this on a past episode of 580 Sports Talk, but one time I went to clown school for a week when I was in like 8th grade or 7th grade and learned how to do like clown things, like make balloon animals.
For a whole week?
For a whole week. Do like miming. I had a whole routine. I wore the suit. I wore the makeup. Those pictures exist. You're never seeing them. Nobody listening to this is ever seeing those. Even if my wife is listening, she's never going to see those.
Dan Lucero, clown college graduate.
I don't think I made it to the graduation.
Clown college dropout.
Not quite accurate either. But no, so that is the story of Francis Bowie. He was down to clown and should not have been.
Jeffrey on YouTube has named him Bozo the Pimp.
Well,
wow, that one's taken me out. My story is going to take us to Florida, where in an attempt to hide from police, a wanted Florida man somehow folded himself into a small front-loading dryer, a feat of audacity and pliability that was eventually thwarted. Now, before we get to the end of this story, I am going to put this up on the YouTube stream. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube is where you can find us. I need to get this picture up on screen if I can. And I don't know where I just saved the image to. Maybe one of you can help me out here. This is a very small dryer, and he somehow folded himself up like an accordion into a tiny little ball and fit himself in the dryer. 31-year-old David Jackson was being sought by cops on felony assault and weapons charges when investigators received a tip that he was inside a Pensacola residence. During a search of the residence on Friday, deputies discovered Jackson inside the laundry room, inside a, quote, remarkably small dryer drum. He was eventually pulled out of the appliance and arrested. He is being held in Escambia County lockup in lieu of $120,000 bond. That's a lot. That's a very high bond total there. We do not know his height or weight, but he's a normal-sized adult male and somehow fit himself into this tiny little box. It seems impossible that he was able to do this, frankly.
Whom among us hasn't wanted to try it, though? Like, haven't you ever wondered if it would be cozy in a front-loading dryer? I sure have. I'm too big to satisfy that particular curiosity.
Yeah, I've at least, like, I've had the thought. It's like the call to the void. Like, could I do this? I could not, though. I certainly could not. All right, who's our winner today?
It's tough. I like the down to clown punchline of the first one, but this guy really did hide in a dryer. 31-year-old man.
Yeah, he balled himself up in a dryer. There is a picture of the sheriffs pulling him out with his hand.
I think I know why it's not
out.
working.
I saved it as the wrong type of file.
Oh, well, I tried to save it, and it's been blocked because the website's insecure.
Oh, well. Uh-oh.
That sounds like the website's problem.
Yeah, I'm going to go with this one as well. This guy folded himself up in a laundry machine. Does that beat the finger gun hold up?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that one continues.
Yeah,
on.
let's let that continue.
All right. 2 votes for it. That is still our winner, the finger gun hold up this week in What Is Wrong. My final What Is Wrong With You for the week. You'll have to let me know what ends up winning the week when we're back on Tuesday next week. Right now, though, we've got to get to a commercial break. We'll come on back, talk to Tim Fitzgerald for the Wildcat Wrap-up on 580 Sports Talk. are going to speak momentarily with Tim Fitzgerald of GoPowerCat.com. In fact, Tim Fitzgerald of GoPowerCat.com is now joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. Go check out all of the phenomenal work that Fitz and his guys do over at GoPowerCat.com, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Follow them, or subscribe, I should say, on YouTube to GoPowerCat as well for all sorts of great podcast content. And, of course, you can follow Fitz on Twitter at Life of Fitz. Fitz, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there was some news about the next season of the Life of Fitz podcast that came out this week.
Yeah, so it's starting up in June, maybe late this month. So I'm asking for ideas for guests. And for the most part, I want to get people I haven't had on before. People want me to get Coach Tang and Coach Kleiman on. I'm like, I just did them last year. We'll retrace some ground. I think I'm going to have Brad Underwood on, which I had on the first season, but he's now taking over for Lon Kruger with Coaches versus Cancer, heading that up. So that makes sense. But yeah, I'm looking to find some new ground here and have some fun with it. We're going to go, do the video and audio versions of it this year. So
awesome.
I have to look good. I can't just call, looking like crap, which normally I do. I normally look like crap, but that got in depth.
Well, we are very excited for it. It is such an awesome series every summer. So we are very excited for the Life of Fitz podcast to return. Also, some K-State news today, Fitz. A little off the beaten path. We spend so much time on men's basketball, football, and some women's hoops, too. K-State baseball staying alive at the Big 12 tournament earlier today. That was a pretty impressive outing, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later in the show, too, but you don't see a lot of college starting pitchers go 131 pitches into a game.
Lord, I wouldn't think pitchers would want to go that long.
Right.
But you know what? Let's be honest here. I grew up with 4-man pitching rotations in the major league, and dudes throwing that number of pitches on the regular. It's kind of the evolution of baseball. We understand, how arms can wear out and have problems, so they just don't do it anymore. But I think that's an indication that K-State knew damn well they had to win that game. They were in real peril of not making the tournament field at all. They did everything else they needed to do to sneak in, and I mean that. They're kind of, going to be one of the last third seeds from a major conference, but they had to win, and they did it. And I don't even know when they play next, but another win would certainly help. And maybe get them a little bit better location.
I believe we have more breakfast in baseball tomorrow. I think they've got another 9 a.m. first pitch.
My goodness. They should get good at it. This is their third one. They should be in a good cycle here of waking up and getting after it. It's so weird to play a game that early, and to do it 3 days in a row is really bizarre.
Fitz, I don't know how much you've gotten to watch of the baseball tournament down in Arlington so far. I know your guy Ryan Wallace was tweeting about this yesterday. The environment stinks. A, that ballpark itself is hideous. B, I understand it's cool that the players get to play in a major league stadium. I understand that they have, the fact that Globe Life was willing to do it in Arlington, big major place, Dallas Metroplex. Okay, I get it. There are maybe 100 people in the building other than the teams for every single one of these games. And now that you're losing Oklahoma and Texas, I can only imagine those crowds are going to get smaller for some of the other games. You got to buy out that contract. It's like playing in an empty Kmart. It is awful.
It's horrible. That's a hideous stadium. That's exactly what happens when you agree to build a stadium, but you don't have the money to do it. They basically built a giant steel building. And put a baseball stadium in the middle of it, and you can hear everything echoing through it because it's so empty. It's just horrible. But yeah, I love Wally's idea of moving it around. Take it to Salt Lake City, maybe put it in Vegas, send it to Florida. If this conference is going to be all over the place, we don't have to stay in Texas with these things. This can be the thing that we move around quite a bit is the baseball tournament to spread it out. I mean, hell, you'll have Arizona field open now. Let's be honest, though, that going to Phoenix for Major League Stadium isn't going to get you much better. Globe Life, that one's not real good either. So I'm with it. I just don't see a reason why to return. I mean, just stop this love for Texas in all things, because now Texas will only represent 1/4 of your conference. And not the whole world doesn't want to go to Texas for everything.
As someone who has seen baseball games in both at both Chase Field in Phoenix and Globe Life Field in Arlington, Chase Field is like a Costco, like watching baseball at a Costco. Globe Life Field is like watching a baseball game at an IKEA.
Okay, I never really thought about watching baseball at an IKEA. I can see Costco having baseball, low cost baseball, but for the ticket price, though, you get 27 innings because everything's packaged.
You buy it in bulk, right? Exactly.
Yeah, you buy it by bulk.
Yeah, Christian Walker handing out free samples at first base for the D-backs. Samples of like a potato salad or something.
That'd be great. I'm into that.
Tim Fitzgerald to GoPowerCat.com is our guest. This is the Wildcat Wrap-up on 580 Sports Talk. Fitz joins us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline every Wednesday at this time to talk all things K-State and whatever other rabbit holes we wind up down. You can check out he and his staff's outstanding work at GoPowerCat.com and find Fitz on Twitter at Life of Fitz. Fitz, is it fair to say that K-State men's basketball transfer portal recruiting is a little bit on hold until the end of the pre-draft process, and then things might start accelerating again after that?
I think you're exactly right. I think that's what they're doing is the dogs decide to bark as soon as they start answering. I think that's exactly what they're doing. They're just going to hold and they've had some good luck in it. We just had a very interesting question on our PowerCat podcast that will go up tomorrow at the site. And we just finished recording. That's why I was wrestling to get done with that to get on here. And is the team better now at this 11-man roster than it was last season? And it's a really interesting question because I think there's an argument to be made that they've lowered their turnover rate, but are going to be less effective on defense because they're just not very big at this point. So I think if they can add some more valuable pieces, that this is going to be a pretty good team on paper. At least it'll be a better team than last year, and we'll see what they end up with. They absolutely need to add a bigger force on the back end to defend the rim. And that's really their goal number one. And then that Kaluma scholarship, it might be him, which would be a great addition, or it might be someone else, but that gives them a little wiggle room at that last scholarship spot.
It's interesting you talk about size, Fits, because, yeah, they've given some back in the front court. They don't have, as it currently stands, a big-bodied center, let alone two of them like they did last year with McNair and Colbert. But they're a lot bigger in the backcourt. Like last year, I remember watching them against them in some games and thinking they're really, really small at guard. Tyler Perry and Cam Carter and Day-Day Ames, not very tall, but now they're going to run some 6'4", 6'5" guys out there at some of the guard spots. And I think that might make the size of the team potentially a bit of a wash.
Yeah, that was another thing we talked about, and the fact that they had some great recruits that second season of recruiting for them, 3 4-star guys, but they were all undersized. Maybe Day-Day was an appropriate size for a point guard, but when you put him at the off guard, he's undersized. Michaela Britch, very explosive, but maybe a little short for the power forward spot. So I think they've kind of gone back to the drawing board, said we can't be that small at guard anymore. And they've gone out and found bigger guys. I think they've now realized we're going to have a couple point guards that are going to be, probably smallish. Maybe they'll eventually find a 6'5" point. They're kind of hard to find, but if they do, that'd be a big upgrade in some ways. But now those off guards are all going to be in that 6'4" to 6'6", 6'7" range. And that makes them really long and athletic and probably defend better from that standpoint. So I think it is something we're going to see K-State try to replicate in the future. Keep in mind, Jerome Tang's only been a head coach now. This will be his 3rd season. And I think he's zeroing in on what kind of player he wants on an annual basis. And this season will tell a lot about where this program's headed.
Tim Fitzgerald is our guest. He is the publisher of GoPowerCat.com, which is part of the 24/7 Sports Network. You can find all of his great work covering K-State there. You can also follow him on Twitter at Life of Fitz. He joins us for the Wildcat Wrap-up every Wednesday at this time on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. We heard yesterday, Fitz, from John Rothstein of CBS Sports, his report that the Big 12 basketball schedule starting this year, we already knew it was going to be 20 conference games. Bill Self broke that news a couple weeks ago. But according to John Rothstein, that's going to start either on New Year's Eve or the day before that, and there will be no breaks. Every team is going to play 2 conference games every single week. I personally don't think that's a good idea because I don't think that is going to have everybody in the best position possible heading into postseason tournaments. What do you like or dislike about that reported news about the schedule?
I'm with you 100%. I'm a little surprised that the coaches let their ADs sign off on that. That'll be good for my little brain because I would always get baffled, but when the schedules were out of balance and the standings would have teams with 1 less or 1 more game, it just kind of hurt my brain. So that'll be easier to keep up with. But we have also learned, and this will be the subject of tomorrow's daily delivery, we all know Arizona K-State is going to be on Friday Night Football, and now we found out today it's going to be on Fox. But what I didn't realize that I heard from Joel Klatt on his show earlier this week, there will be Friday Night Fox basketball. And they're going to make Friday night the college sports night for Fox as a network. During football and basketball season, there will be a game on every Friday. That's really interesting. That impacts the Big 12 because Fox has got a portion of Big 12 basketball going forward. I think it's pretty cool, and it's great exposure for the conference. And, honestly, most of those games will be Big 10 because Fox has their teeth into that much deeper. And but still, I find it all very intriguing because now you'll have basketball games going almost every day of the week. You got Big Monday, of course, you play Saturday. They won't play on Sunday, but teams are playing on Tuesday and Wednesday. I can see Thursday games because they got to replace the Pac-12 that played on Thursday. So it's going to get really interesting to try to follow this.
That's an interesting point, and I guess it does make some sense that maybe, you're not going to have everybody doing the Saturday, Monday when you have your regular weekend game followed by Big Monday, or even Saturday, Tuesday is a pretty quick turnaround. I just feel like if you're not going to give, and it's not even a true week off, it's just the Monday through Friday stretch off that the Big 12 has traditionally gone with. I just feel like by the time you get to the Big 12 tournament, or far more importantly, the NCAA tournament, you're going to have a lot of teams that qualify, but a lot of teams that are really, really worn down. And I agree. I don't know why the league would say yes to this. I mean, obviously it's money. That's what it always comes down to. But I just don't think that prepares you the best for March Madness because you're going to go into that first weekend primed for an upset because all your dudes are gassed.
Yep, I agree with you. I do like the idea. This has been something else I've spoken about on one of my videos a long time ago, is scheduling basketball games around bowl season to have alternative programming. Now, granted, I think if they're tipping off that early in the year when ESPN has, got all their bowls running, maybe we'll see Fox take over a lot of those games. But I think having bowl season basketball is a great sales pitch, great marketing, and I'm excited about that, I guess. But of course, what it'll work out is for K-State and KU, they'll probably end up with basketball games on the day of their own bowl games, and it'll be another mess for all of us trying to cover it and for fans trying to watch things.
Speaking of your videos, Fitz, you had a daily delivery over at GoPowerCat.com the other day about football has the red shirt rule now. That's pretty much what everyone calls it, where you get the 4 games during the season where if you can play in those 4 games, but if you don't play anymore, you still get to keep a red shirt. And then they've got the waiver for bowl games as well. Why don't we do that in college basketball? I could not possibly agree with you more. Frankly, if you're going to put it in one sport, everybody should have it. Volleyball, if you play, 4 matches, you should get to keep a red shirt. Baseball, if you play, only 8 games or whatever, you should get to keep it. Why is it only football that gets that rule?
I don't know. And I think you can make a really strong argument that you should have 1/3 of your regular season can be played and still maintain your red shirt, because in football, that's what it is. You can play 4. There's 12 regular season games. Now they've added waivers for championship and bowl games where those kids can play. So really, if you're in the championship game, you can play 6 games out of a 14-game schedule. And I guess it would make a lot of sense. We're coming back to this point that injuries are going to happen. You're going to be tired. So why not have those 10 games available for these players to play when you have an injury? You can bolster your roster with them, or maybe you burn them all in the preseason to see if they're worthy of playing. But when you get to the postseason, and take Kansas, for example, they were running out of healthy bodies by the end of last year. And being able to play your redshirt guys and have more depth, I think would be a really positive thing for the kids and the programs and the product. So, but as other people argue, do redshirts really matter in basketball anymore? Because if you don't play enough as a freshman, you're going to leave anyhow. It's also a valid point, but I'd like to see them consider that. And I agree, it should be in all sports, not just these sports.
Well, and I think, too, as we go to conferences that are bigger and bigger, SEC is huge. The Big Ten is massive. The Big 12 is big now. The ACC has been a big conference for a while. And I know other leagues are probably going to consolidate over time, especially if they've got to pay a bunch of money to players and whatnot. And that's a discussion we can get into in another day. But I feel like when, use the Big 12 as an example. If you're K-State and you've got to play Saturday, Tuesday, and man, we are just really short on guys, maybe you've thought about Ike Gwaruka, maybe you think, hey, he's going to redshirt this year. Well, if you've got a few extra games when you can use him and not burn his red shirt, and you've got to have bodies for that Tuesday turnaround, that seems like a great opportunity to be able to use those guys. They keep their red shirt. That feels like a win-win situation to me.
I agree. It's good for the kid. It's good for the program. It's great for the fans. And you know what? It's good for TV too, because maybe you're more competitive instead of being really shorthanded.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Look at it this way. Let's be honest. This makes sense. I don't expect the NCAA to.
Truer words have never been spoken. Tim Fitzgerald joins us every Wednesday for the Wildcat Wrap-up here on 580 Sports Talk on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. You can find his work and his crew's work over at GoPowerCat.com. Go PowerCat on YouTube. And, of course, make sure you're following him on Twitter at LifeOfFitz. Appreciate it as always, Fitz. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, boys.
That's Tim Fitzgerald from GoPowerCat.com. Great, as always, to talk with Tim Fitzgerald. We've got 1 hour left on 580 Sports Talk coming up today, and we'll lead it off with our headlines right after the news here on 580 Sports Talk. Sports Talk coming your way on a Wednesday afternoon. I'm Brendan Dworzinski. That's Dan Lucero. That's Spencer Dupuis. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Wednesday afternoon. Short show today because of Royals Day baseball. People always say Game 7, the two best words in sports. One, wrong.
Couldn't disagree more.
There's two better examples right off the top of my head. One, fullback dive. Two, day baseball. Both better two-word phrases than Game 7.
Dana Dimmel, calm down.
Ouch. Mean. Unnecessary. No, if you're a fan, there are few sets of words worse than Game 7.
Yes.
Miserable.
Absolute torture.
Horrible experience. I will forever remember the pit in my stomach I felt for a full 24 hours before the Game 7 of the 2016 World Series. I did not have fun for the vast majority of that game.
The amount of fun I have had watching a sporting event, no matter what sporting event it is, the amount of fun I've ever had is 0% up to me.
Yeah, correct.
It has nothing to do with me.
The most fun experience watching a sporting event for me, like of a team I care about, is generally going to the game, because there's other fun stuff that happens there. Like going to a Cubs game, for example, most fun way for me to enjoy a Cubs game.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got the sun out, hopefully you're having a few dogs with your friends, or if you go alone, you're just chatting up the person next to you. Like that, to me, most fun way to enjoy a game. When I'm at home, I'm complaining.
Have you ever been to a game by yourself?
Oh, it's the best way to watch a game.
The
best way to watch a sporting event is to be there alone.
I've debated doing this a few times.
Do it.
Just do it.
Do it. Go to the K alone. Get
a ticket, go. Just chill.
There are certain people who I will say that to. They go, "What are you, a loser?" Like, no, that sounds terrible. No, it is awesome. You get to control how much you're talking to other people. Someone next to you who wants to talk ball, who's a fun hang. Awesome, great. You don't have to answer dumb questions, talk about dumb stuff, or like outside drama or anything. No, it's just you have full control over your experience at the game. Awesome. I recommend it to everyone.
Yeah, I've done it. Yeah, a handful of times. Been to the K by myself, been to Coors Field by myself. Yeah, I love going to a ball game.
Oh, it's the best.
Also, because I am a 75-year-old man at heart, I keep a book.
No, I love keeping score.
I keep my scorecard, and I've kept them virtually every game I've ever been to.
Yeah, it's fun.
I keep a scorecard. I go with my wife, even if I go with my friends. But yeah, I keep my scorebook and I just watch the game and enjoy the game.
I've been to plenty of baseball games alone. I've been to NFL games alone. I've been to many college football games alone, because from 2013 through 2016, there weren't a whole lot of students at the University of Kansas who wanted to go watch KU football. So I would go and I would sit alone, and sure that makes me sound like a loser. My team was also a loser. I do not care. I loved it. I thought it was a blast. I like doing things alone, though. You have full control over the environment. It is awesome.
I will tell you, I don't look forward to going on grocery trips when my girlfriend moves in, because when she was here, I was like, yeah, well, we had to like look at everything, and like
my wife gives me crap all the time because she does the majority of our grocery shopping. And I appreciate it a great deal. It's not my favorite thing to do. And she will often say, all right, I'm going to the store. Do you want to come? And in most things, if she asks, like, do you want to do this with me? Even if I don't want to, I kind of do the, I'm doing something else. Right? I really wanted to watch the game or whatever. She'll ask about if I want to go to the store. No, I do not. I do not want to go to the store with you. It is not you. It is me. But no, I do not want to do that with you. I think I've told you this before. When I'm watching a game, like a Packer game or certainly a playoff game of a team I care about, I have a very small number of people I'm willing to watch with. My wife is in the club. I'm cool watching games with her. We're married. It makes sense. But like, oh, dude, you want to come over and watch this game? No, I'm good. Because I'm going to be miserable. I'm not going to have fun.
No.
Until the Packers are up 35-3 with about 8 minutes left, I will not have fun.
That's exactly right. Like, oh, do you want to come watch like the national championship football game? It's just like two teams I don't really have a stake in. Yeah, sure. We'll watch the game. We'll shoot the breeze. We'll eat some wings, drink some beers, have a good time. Yeah, you want to watch a game with a team that you care about where you have a vested interest in the outcome? Absolutely not. Because you know who I don't want to talk about it with if it goes left? Anyone.
No, I want to do it on my own.
The Dan Patrick Show did a whole segment about this, and it was timely for me personally because they did it on Monday and Sunday. Bottom 5, well, the whole weekend, bottom 5 sports weekend in my lifetime.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah.
And the topic was, how do you approach a friend to talk about and commiserate with them about a game that their favorite team lost if they lost a big game? And the answer I had is, you don't. I don't want you to commiserate with me. If I like you enough, if we're close enough, maybe I'll trauma dump on you a little bit. And what I want you to do is give me the Michael Porter Jr. podcast response. Nah, man, that's tough. Yeah, man. Yeah. And let me finish and you shut your mouth. And when I'm done, then I'm done. And it's off my chest and we keep it moving.
There are sometimes I'm a fixer. Like when I hear that someone I care about or a friend or my wife or whatever has a problem, my immediate thought is I want to fix this. I want to make it better. That gets me into trouble sometimes.
No.
Sometimes there's not a need to fix it. You just say, dang, I'm sorry. That sucks. The same thing applies when your friend or your significant other or whatever, when their favorite team loses. Sometimes it's okay to just say, dang, that sucks.
Yes, like that sucks.
I am sorry.
That sucks. I'm sorry are 4 words that go great together and can get you out of a tough situation. Sometimes they're all you need.
Yes.
That sucks. I'm sorry. And listen and then just keep it moving. Like I don't want somebody to put their arm around me and say, hey man, sorry about your team. No. Those are the 4 worst words you can say to me.
Man, that fourth down, man, that was tough, wasn't it? I don't want to talk to you about this.
You have no idea.
Have you ever wanted to drink a cocktail of bleach and Windex and Fantastic and scrubbing bubbles all at the same time after watching your team yak away a playoff game? No? Then I don't want to hear about it. Don't talk to me. I got a Clorox and Coke waiting for me at home after that. I don't want to talk to you about it, buddy. This is why I always would yell at Jake when he would say, I hope the Chiefs and Packers play in the Super Bowl so we can watch together. I don't want to be with anyone less than I want to be with a Chiefs fan during that game, pal.
No. Jake LeBon forever on the outside of that club.
Always. Especially after the 2018 Final Four and the 2019 Big 12 Tournament Championship game. I was there alone all weekend, enjoying myself, watching plenty of great hoops at Sprint Center at the time in Kansas City. Then you 2 yokels show up. Iowa State looks like the damn Warriors out there. Couldn't miss.
What was the dude's name? Lavelle. What was his name? Lindell Wigginton.
Lindell Wigginton. Yeah. Oh, you mean Steph Curry Part 2? Absolutely not.
See, I just sat there watching. I didn't look you in the eye the entire time.
Because you knew. Because we watch sports the same way.
Yes, we are simpatico in that way.
Oh man, they can't miss, huh? Shut up.
Boy, this is rough, huh, buddy?
Thank God I wasn't driving home with you guys. You wouldn't have made it past Bonner Springs.
You gonna be all right? Do not ask me that. The answer is yes, but you need to give me the space to be upset.
Christopher on YouTube says that cocktail sounds terrible. Didn't even include Pine Sol. Any chemical you've got.
A little Goo-Gone.
Oh, gross. That might be the threshold. Drinking Goo-Gone. All right, let's get to a few
segments trailed way far off in 10 minutes.
Let's get to some 580 Sports Talk headlines for today. Mentioned this to Fitz earlier. Big 12 baseball tournament today. Hope you like having hash browns and baseball because you're going to get another morning of it if you're a K-State fan. Cats beat West Virginia 8-4 today. They went down 3-0 in the first inning, then scored 7 in the fourth, an inning in which the Cats had 4 hits and were walked 6 times and scored 7 runs. The most miserable form of baseball when you just cannot hit the zone. They scored another run later. West Virginia would tack on one more in the 9th inning as well. So K-State advances. They will go on to take on TCU tomorrow. And whoever loses that game will be eliminated. Winner will go on to play Friday again at 9 a.m. Owen Borma pitched a complete game for K-State. You don't, at any level of baseball, you don't see a lot of 4 runs allowed complete games unless you're Jordan Lyles. That does not happen very often, okay? He threw, and I give Owen credit here because he gave up 3 early runs and then shut it down from there. And he's got the Brian Shaw rubber arm, apparently, because he threw 131 pitches. That is a very impressive feat. And don't get, back in the day, Cy Young used to throw. Cy Young was throwing 74-mile-an-hour fastballs. I don't want to hear it. Owen Borma can throw way faster and harder and with more spin on all of his pitches than that. I cannot believe Pete Hughes left his starting pitcher in for 131 pitches.
With a 5-run lead, too,
Yes.
for the final 2 innings. Like, I understand, like, save your bullpen. Absolutely. Yeah, don't use Tyson Neighbors. Like, you don't have anybody else that can go get
and you
3
burned
to 6 outs.
You burned a bunch of guys against KU yesterday. You've got another elimination game tomorrow. You were up big, so why burn through extra guys? Look, I understand the logic to a point. To a point, I absolutely do. But, like, let's also be realistic. I watched the 9th inning. You watched the 9th inning of that game. Spencer, I think you watched the 9th inning of that game.
Yeah.
The 9th inning version, when we were getting to 120, 125, 130 pitches of Owen Borma, not the guy who was pitching in the 5th, 6th, 7th inning. Not the same pitcher. That ball did not have nearly the same kind of juice on it. You could tell because West Virginia was squaring it up. They were blooping hits in. They were hitting it harder. I cannot believe they let him go 131 pitches.
There's a reason that nobody does this in the major leagues and the minor leagues anymore. Nobody throws that many pitches. Like, it doesn't happen. You do not see it. There's a reason that several high school governing bodies, including Keisha, have pitch count rules in place so that you can't go over, I think it's 110. That might be CHASA. That might be the Colorado rule. But I think it's pretty close to the Kansas rule. I think 110 is your limit. And even that's quite a lot for somebody who might be 15, 16 years old. It is irresponsible of Pete Hughes to throw his pitcher 131 pitches. That's utterly irresponsible. I don't care. I know Borma's a senior, and maybe he doesn't think he's going to play pro ball, although he's a 6'5" lefty striking out 11 guys per 9 in the Big 12. Like, maybe somebody might be interested in that. Think they get a little bit more velocity out of his frame. I don't know. But maybe he doesn't want to play pro ball, and that's his prerogative. And certainly, if he's any kind of competitor, he wanted to be in the game, and he wanted the ball, but that's where the adult has to step in, and Pete Hughes has to be the adult here and say, I'm going to look after the health of my pitcher. I'm going to look after the health of my guys, and I've got somebody else on scholarship in my Division I Big 12 program that can get 3 outs before he gives up 5 runs. I got somebody I can go and get 3 outs out of. It was irresponsible. And this is not I'm not being anti Pete Hughes here. I have no strong Pete Hughes opinions. Sure, diehard K-State baseball fans might, but I do not have
I think they do.
Yeah, I do not have a particularly strong Pete Hughes opinion. And this is not entirely a Pete Hughes problem either. This is every time we get to the college baseball postseason, you will see some kid who is left out there for 110, 120, 130 pitches, or no, somebody will throw 100 pitches one day and then come back the next day to pitch, and it's irresponsible and it's shameful. It's shameful for college pitches or college coaches to treat their pitchers the way that they do, to treat them as though they are, though they don't fatigue, as though they are just meant to pitch until their arms fall off. That's irresponsible. You don't see it in the majors. You don't see it. There are rules against it in high school. There need to be some rules against it in college baseball because it's really, really shameful. I say shame on Pete Hughes for that.
Did you see the text we just got from the 785? Apparently, he threw 140 pitches as a sophomore in Division III before transferring to K-State.
And that's ridiculous. And look,
that's ridiculous.
That's completely ridiculous.
Who knows if that's true or false? We're just getting it from an offhand source.
When I was in college, I remember vividly. I played on my Division III college baseball team when I was a freshman. I had a senior teammate who, in a big game late in the season, threw, and I am not making this up because I called the game on the radio and I counted every last one of these, 158 pitches in a game.
Crazy.
I don't know, like, I think he has children. I don't know if he's able to play catch with them to this day. But this happens and it shouldn't. You have to be the adult. I know that when you're 18 to 23 years old, you say, yeah, I want the ball. I want to be there for my team. I want to keep pitching. I feel good. I feel fine. No, you have to have an adult in the room to say, no, this isn't okay to do this to a guy.
Because that's a college coach more so than a professional coach, and certainly youth. Part of your responsibility, and I agree with you. Like, I don't feel one way or the other about PTUs. I'm sure he's not intentionally saying, I'm going to ruin this kid's arm. I know that's not what's happening. So this isn't specifically him, even though I think this particular instance was a bad idea. But part of your job as a college coach, whatever sport it is, you've got to take care of those guys, because as much as it has been professionalized, and it effectively is a lower level of professional sports at this point, part of the experience of playing college sports is still getting prepared either for the professionals or life after, or becoming a better man or woman or whatever it ends up being. You've got to take care of these guys and get to 100, 110, whatever. I know guys can pitch that in college. 131's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a lot of stress on the arm of a 22-year-old.
It's too many. It's simply too many. And it was really disappointing to see that, even though, I mean, I could tip my cap and say, hey, the kid pitched a great game. It was a gutty effort. All those things are true. But it shouldn't have been up to him.
We will have coverage of tomorrow's K-State elimination game against TCU. You'll be able to hear pregame starting at 8:30. First pitch at 9 o'clock. Get ready for breakfast with the Cats again, coming up right here on 580 WIBW tomorrow morning. KU also will play Oklahoma tomorrow. That game will be at 12:30. We obviously won't be carrying that. But KU is in the driver's. They're in a great position here. OU, really good. But KU has some bullets to play with still. They have not lost yet, so they will be alive for at least 2 more games.
Yeah, and they got a chance. They got the day off today to
rest their bullpen.
Bullpen after how many guys they used against Kansas State. Oklahoma beat TCU earlier today 4-0. Texas and Cincinnati are playing an elimination game right now. They were both upset yesterday. Oklahoma State, Texas Tech is the late game in Arlington tonight. Should we go right into the playoff roundup?
Yeah, let's do it. We're a little short on time here.
Yeah, we are. Let's go ahead and do it.
Spencer, no fault of your own.
It's time for the 580 Sports Talk Playoff Roundup.
Last night,
I expected that to be like in a few more minutes.
No, you're gonna pass it.
I understand.
Yeah,
we're not gonna hang that one around your neck. In the NBA last night, the Boston Celtics beat the Indiana Pacers in overtime in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals in a very stupid basketball game, where it looked like the Celtics were in control the entire way. Then the Pacers took command in the fourth quarter. Then the Pacers forgot how to play basketball in the final 30 seconds. Jaylen Brown tied the game with a 3, and the Celtics would go on to win a couple of big Jason Tatum shots late in the overtime, and the Celtics win it. Trying to pull up the final score. 133-128 final score. Game 1 goes to the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Game 2 is tomorrow night. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals is tonight. Dallas at Minnesota.
It was always going to be an uphill climb for Indiana to win this series. Boston's really good, and they've got the best players in the series. I know Halliburton was good yesterday. Jason Tatum was great in overtime. He was really bad the entire rest of the game. You cannot squander a game in which the other team's best player is that bad for 48 minutes. You just can't. And Indiana did. They had their chances, couldn't get it done. And yeah, this one's over in 4 or 5.
Yeah, Boston is a very unconvincing 9-2 in these playoffs, and I understand why people don't have a lot of faith in them. But again, they are by far the favorite to not just win this series, but win the title. I think they opened as like minus 1,600 to win this series.
That's insane.
Which is preposterous. Like, they're going to win the series. Yeah. But they very nearly tricked off game 1. And if Tyrese Halliburton hadn't dribbled the ball out of bounds with 20 seconds left, maybe they would have.
Remember when that happened to KU in the national championship game and they held on to win, but with 4 seconds left, Juwan Harris dribbled out of bounds?
I do remember that.
I was very scared. You want to talk about moments that did not feel fun at all, despite leading in a title game? That moment.
Not even a little bit fun. Tonight, game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals in the Stanley Cup playoffs on Frozen Pond at Madison Square Garden. The New York Rangers take on the Florida Panthers.
I'm going to go Panthers in 7. I know I picked the Panthers yesterday. I'm saying Panthers in 7.
Yeah, this should be a good series. I think it'll be a competitive series. Rangers are playing well. Panthers, I just think, are the deeper team and are going to find a way to win this series.
Yeah, I'm with the Panthers only because I don't want another team in the Metro.
I respect that.
to get another cup.
I respect that.
No hate like sports hate. Spencer, do you have a quick headline for us?
Yeah, we'll keep it here. Topeka native Najir Kennedy, I believe that's how you say her name.
Naija Kennedy.
Naija
Yeah,
Kennedy.
Her full name's Najee, but
Najir. Okay.
around here we still call her Naija.
Naija Kennedy has been named a top 3 finalist for the USA Softball Player of the Year. She had a phenomenal weekend at the NCAA regionals that Stanford hosted over the weekend. Her pitching line in 3 games, 19 innings pitched, allowed 9 hits, 3 runs, 2 of those earned, and 36 strikeouts. In the Friday game against St. Mary's, she had 5 perfect innings going before they pulled her, so she could have she could play down the line in the rest of that regionals. They're hosting the Super Regionals this weekend against LSU, so they continue to move on, and I expect her to pitch probably in 2 games.
She's a freak, and I mean that in the nicest, most complimentary way possible. She is a sophomore and led the country in strikeouts, 36 in 19 innings. You know what that is I guess that's per 7 because it's softball.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what her numbers for the season are, but she's essentially this past week throwing 13 strikeouts per game.
I feel like
per 7 innings.
That's about on par for what she has a game.
She's crazy. She is such a good athlete, and I hope they make it to Oklahoma City again. It was really fun watching them last year when they got in.
Too.
Yeah, she is such a superstar. That's going to do it for our 580 Sports Talk headlines for today. I'm out of here for the rest of the week, so Spencer and Dan will be taking you home. When we come back on the other side of this timeout, we're going to hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes what they had to say at OTAs this week. That's coming up on 580 Sports Talk.
8:31 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan and Spencer with you the rest of the way. Brendan off to a wedding celebrating the nuptials of one of his friends. So he's out the rest of the week. Tomorrow, Spencer and I will be at Westridge Mall for the Topeka Catbackers event. Look forward to seeing some of you K-Staters out there at Westridge Mall. We'll be on from 2 to 6. No Royals baseball tomorrow. So a full show for 580 Sports Talk tomorrow.
We might get to talk to some people too.
Yeah.
Who knows who swings by the table?
We're hoping to have some guests, some surprise guests, potentially. Some surprise guests. The guest list TBD. And Rick Peterson will join us too, like he always does on Thursday, but that's a different deal. We'll have some surprise K-State guests for you at the Catbackers event tomorrow at Westridge Mall here on 580 Sports Talk. I almost said Westwidge again. It's hard. You don't know this. This was a long time ago. I think I had just moved to Topeka, and there was a billboard for Jock's Niche at the mall. Jock's Niche. It's a sporting, not sporting goods, but like sports apparel, local sports apparel. They got a bunch of Washburn.
So it's like a rally house.
KUK State. Yeah, kind of like that. The more local. Jock's Niche at the mall. And the billboard, it was up over where the Freddy's is now, and across from the Culver, so down on Wanamaker, that direction. And the billboard said that their location was at Westwidge. They spelled it with a W.
How does that get by?
I have no idea.
Especially because I'm assuming these people are local. Like it's some business person in Topeka.
Pretty incredible that the billboard said Westwidge Mall. I swear to God it did. I'd have photo evidence and everything. I'll have to show you sometime. Anyway, Spencer, let's stop stepping on Andy Reid's toes. The head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs spoke with the media after OTAs today. Had plenty to talk about and address. There's been obviously a lot of off-field news that the Chiefs have been making lately. Reid addressed some of that, and then, of course, had plenty to address on the field as well. So without any further ado, here's Big Red.
Beforehand, I mean, maybe I'll talk before she and have, like, with the second incident, I'll talk to him and encourage him.
Yeah, no, we keep open communication there. Yeah, for sure. And we just let the process play its way out there.
I guess the same with Wanye and
Yep, same thing. Yeah, same thing.
Andy, what steps do you take as a coach and as a team in order to make sure that these guys, when they're away from the facility, are making smart, safe decisions?
Yeah, well, obviously you stay in touch with them and you communicate before they leave. Make sure they take care of business. So, but sometimes things happen, and then you got to work through that.
Have y'all talked with Harrison at all just about his comments and what he said?
Yeah, listen, I talk to Harrison all the time, so that's not I think I didn't talk to him about this. Didn't think we need to. We're a microcosm of life here. Everybody's from different areas, different religions, different races, and so we all get along. We all respect each other's opinions, and not necessarily do we go by those, but we respect everybody to have a voice. It's a great thing about America, man. And we're just, like I said, a microcosm of that. And I wish, my wish is that, everybody could kind of follow that. So, yeah.
I made some comments about the part of the media to the White House with you all and still be.
Oh, I'm sure it will. Yeah.
And is there frustration that this offseason has had a lot of off-field distractions?
Yeah, listen, we don't want those things obviously to happen, but things do happen and you work through it. And my thing is, if it's important that you learn from it and that you end it. So that's important.
With so many women just on staff and in the building, his comments kind of touched on women you work for. So, what do you tell them if they come to you with a concern about players speaking ill of, women in general?
Yeah, that hasn't happened. I don't think you're speaking ill to women, but he has his opinions, and we all respect that. I let you guys in this room, and you have a lot of opinions that I don't like. So.
When a player says something that can be deemed controversial, even though some people supported it, some people didn't, how do you help that not become a distraction for this team with as much attention that's on Harrison's comment.
Yeah, sure. The guys are good with that. They understand. I mean, they understand how things work. I mean, everybody's got their own opinion. And that's what's so great about this country. You can share those things and you work through it. And that's what guys do.
As it relates to the schedule, the clog at the end with 3 days or 3 games in 11 days, do you get heads up notice about that, playing on different days, every day but Tuesday? And then what's your reaction to it?
I don't. They don't ask me. It's the first time in my career that's happened. It's unique. So, and you know how we are. I mean, we don't really care. They could give us a Tuesday game if they want. We'll be okay there too. So, we work through it, and we'll play anybody, anywhere, whatever they want to do. We're on board. So.
Andy, with the new guys, Hollywood, Carson, how they kind of integrate themselves just through these practices and doing all others?
Yeah, so and really in general, I like what I've seen from the new guys. Those two have done a real nice job. You guys got a chance to see it for the first time today, and Hollywood does a nice job out there as a receiver. It looks like he and Pat are developing a nice little chemistry there. And, we'll just take it step by step as we go. And then Carson looks sharp. He's picking things up fast, smart guy. And he fits in well. He seems like a heck of a person. And he's good for that room, or good in that room.
And what are you asking of Rashid this time compared to a year ago?
As far as football?
Yes.
Yeah. So obviously we're going to increase what he does. At the same time, make sure that he takes what he wasn't doing well last year and working on that. And we try to do that with all the guys. So we try to give him a little bit more. But at the same time, making sure that we don't forget about the things from last year.
Is there one or two things that you can pinpoint that you want to see improve from now until the start of whatever he can play?
Yeah, so he worked through, as you saw during the season, he worked through some of the drops. So we're good with that. He's got good hand placement as he goes through the routes. He's got that feel of where things can catch you quick and where you have a little bit more time. I think the place that he'll continue to work on would be just in space. He has a nice feel for it, but the more reps you get with that, the better you get with it. So the area that he plays in, that becomes important.
What does Xavier bring to the table? What have you seen from him? Was he able to practice today?
No, he didn't practice today. He tweaked his hamstring the other day, so he didn't practice today. But what we saw was somebody that was smart, understood what was being thrown at him, and then somebody that can run pretty fast. And we just basically got through the introduction stuff to him. So he was only out there for a day and a half. So but he got a nice introduction to things.
In the new kickoff rules, can he make a difference? Can a guy make a difference? I haven't watched the other league, so I don't know what.
Yeah, I think we're feeling that whole thing out as we go. Tubbs doing a nice job. We're trying to work on it. You can't block full speed, so it's tough to get a full grasp of that whole thing. But I mean, it's going to be interesting. I'm not sure any of us are going to know until we really boot the thing off. So
With Worthy's injury right now, how are you expecting him and Pat to try to build some of that chemistry when he can't be on the field?
yeah. Well, when he gets back, we'll take it from there. He's a smart kid. He's got a good feel for things. Comes from a good system. He's done a few of the things we've done in college, so he'll just work through that, and I think we'll be all right. He'll get enough reps as we go.
It seems like Hollywood has a good feel for the system already. You impressed by what you think?
Yeah, no, he's another one. That's a smart kid, and he just kind of gets it. And Pat and there's so much talking going on, which I look at, and I think that's important. As long as the receivers are willing to listen and then share what they saw and it's accurate, you normally can develop a pretty good relationship relatively quick as you go.
Coach, I saw they're going to experiment in the preseason with some technology in the ball, spot it on the running game stuff. What do you know about the system that they're going to use? What do you expect it to kind of show you?
Yeah, listen, I'm not I think it's going to be fine. But we'll just see. I'll be looking at that like the kickoff, so we'll see how it works, and we'll kind of go from there.
Is it something that league coaches have wanted to get more accurate on those? Are you cross the line or not?
Yeah, I think the coaches and the officials too. I mean, they want to keep it. I'm speaking for the officials, but the coaches feel the same way, that they want to be as accurate as they possibly can. And so whatever technology helps them out, I think they're open to, as long as it's done the right way. And you can kind of keep the flow of the game rolling. They've been real good with all that stuff.
Matt, Coach, you mentioned you experimenting with the new kickoff rule. We even get to see a little bit of that with Justin doing some kickoff as well. How much excitement do you think that you could inject into that play?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, there seem to be some options that you can do with it. A little bit like the run game, potentially. There are things that you can maneuver around with. Having the two up backs like they have, that's going to be, and then the two receivers, that's going to, two guys receiving the ball. It opens up some options that maybe the other group didn't have.
Maybe an advantage too to have a guy like Justin with kickoffs as being an extra tackler.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. Once you get through that first wall, there's not a whole lot past that other than that guy. So.
Andy, Patrick seems to be pretty vocal this time of year on the field. How much do you really rely on that for the tone of these sorts of midsummer practice?
Yeah, so I think it's great to hear the coaches do it, but then on top of that, to have a player that voices himself. When Kels was out here, he did the same thing. He puts it out there and makes sure the guys hear it. I hear Chris Jones doing that on the defensive side. So and Bolden, that's so important. I think that they first of all bought in to what we're doing, and then are willing to share it with the other guys. So I'm sure some of the rookies are looking at it like, boy, this is crazy, but he's going to get you in the right spot and do the right things with it. So
that's Andy Reid. That's what he had to say after OTAs today. Love how it seems that he is excited about the prospect of something new with the new kickoff rule, something new for him to tinker with and design as a coach, a new challenge. We've been in the game a long time. You're always looking to be invigorated by those things, and clearly Reid is. We'll hear a little bit from Patrick Mahomes as well after we take a quick break here on 580 Sports Talk. 580 Sports Talk coming down the home stretch on this abbreviated Wednesday edition of 580 Sports Talk. We just heard from Andy Reid. Patrick Mahomes also spoke with the media after OTAs today at One Arrowhead Drive. Here's what QB1 had to say, at least some of what QB1 had to say.
Seemed pretty spirited out there. A lot of talking back and forth. What did it feel like for you?
No, it's I think as the years go on, you start playing against the same guys over and over again. It's kind of that competitive trash talk. I mean, going up against guys like Drew and Nick, and then some of the DBs. I mean, you talk trash in the locker room, but you love on each other too. So we're always competing, and then at the end, we're talking about it and trying to find ways to make each other better. And I have to give away some of my secrets about stuff that I know about them, and they do a little bit the same.
Maybe this is related, but what did you learn about this point of the season last year that was beneficial to kind of, erase what you've done the year before and then really turn the focus to that year?
I mean, every year you get to do that. I think just as I've gotten older and as I've learned more and more, I just try to find different ways to tweak certain stuff and trying to push the envelope even more. And I think y'all saw today, we try to throw a few more deep passes, get back to the deep game and stuff like that. I think we've done a great job mastering the intermediate short stuff, but we want to get back to having that part of the offense as well. And so coach is really pushing us to push it down the field, and it's hard to do against our defense, but we're trying to make it happen.
What do you see from Hollywood Browns, especially on that back end zone?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it the entire offseason from working in Texas till here, and I remember the first day I told guys like Drew, and I was like, hey, like he's gonna try. He tracks him down the field well, and he can really go. And I think y'all saw it today. I mean, I'm giving him chances downfield. He's making the plays happen, and the more plays he makes, the more we'll continue to give him those chances. It's a good addition to our offense.
Patrick, as a young black man who is financially stable, obviously, with your contract and stuff, what advice or what conversations are you having with Rashid Rice to where we know about the car accident incident? I'm pretty sure you had a conversation with him about that. But then to find himself in the situation that he had in the club at 1:30 in the morning, what kind of conversation are you all having with him so he kind of avoids putting himself in a situation like that in the future?
Yeah, I think it's not just me. I think it's just trying to do whatever we can to teach him how to learn from his mistakes. I mean, obviously, that was a big mistake, but you have to learn from it, make sure it doesn't happen again, and try to do whatever you can to be the best person you can be in society, not only for yourself, but for the people around you. And I think he is doing that. But right now, we're just going to keep trying to do whatever we can to get him on the right path so that he can be a great football player, obviously, but we want him to be a great person, too.
Patrick, you've been so good about eliminating distractions in the past, but with this offseason, how have you just been kind of telling the team and everybody else, along with yourself, just make sure that you guys focus on football when you're here and try to make the mistakes going, because it impacts all of us.
Yeah, I think guys know. At the same time, I think when you get in the locker room, it's kind of that safe space where everybody can be themselves, and we can worry about football and each other's families and everything like that. And so it's always good to have people here, have people in Kansas City practicing, like you said, competing, and then it's just about being smart as we can when we're not in the building. And I think the guys understand we have to step up as a team and an organization in that way. But we have to go out there and prove that in order for other people to believe that as well.
Patrick, Harrison's comments made at the commencement speech made a lot of waves. What was your reaction to just hearing what he said there?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like I was talking about with the Rashid thing. I think it's just, I know Harrison. I've known him for 7 years, and I judge him by the character that he shows every single day, and that's a good person. That's someone who cares about the people around him, cares about his family, and wants to make a good impact in society. When you're in the locker room, there's a lot of people from a lot of different areas of life, and they have a lot of different views on everything, and we're not always going to agree. But and there's certain things that he said that I don't necessarily agree with, but I understand the person that he is, and he's trying to do whatever he can to lead people in the right direction. And that might not be the same values as I have, but at the same time, I'm going to judge him by the character that he shows every single day. And that's a great person. And we'll continue to move along and try to help build each other up to make ourselves better every single day. But at the end of the day, we're going to come together as a team. And I think that'll help out as well as eliminating those distractions outside the building as well.
Patrick, I have to ask, what did you disagree most with?
I think there's just certain values that you have that some people emphasize more than others. And there's just certain things that I didn't necessarily agree with, but at the same time, I'm not going to judge him by that. I judge him by the way he acts every single day. And I'm not going to get into the full details of the entire speech, but at the same time, I know what type of person he is. And I'm going to make sure that I look at that first and then let the other stuff kind of handle itself.
Now, that speech coming, I mean, the time 100, that's aired, weeks before. But that speech coming the morning of, and then your speech about after. Is there any type of thinking, just like, is it just a coincidence, or is it just like?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty bad timing, I guess you would say. But like you said, I shot that a couple weeks before. But I think what makes the locker room so cool is you're able to have those discussions and become better and make those decisions for yourself. And so even though there are very vast, I guess, differences as far as those speeches happen, you're able to talk to guys and you get knowledge. You make your own decisions at the end of the day. And I think that's what makes this country so great, is that you're able to get as much knowledge as you can, and then you make your own decisions. And it gets a little divisive sometimes when you get to social media and you get to outside the building, but in the building you can have those healthy discussions and still be friends at the end of the day, even though you might not agree with exactly the same things.
So that is Patrick Mahomes, some of what he had to say. Obviously, for both Reid and Mahomes, there was a lot of off-the-field things that they both had to address. The Rashee Rice situation, the controversy surrounding Harrison Butker and his commencement speech at Benedictine University that, of course, media wanted to hear some comments on. And now you actually know what Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes think about that. And you don't have to depend on a Facebook meme that I saw going around that was referring to Andy Reid as R-E-E-D Reid and talking about firing football players, which is not a thing that happens. So now you can ignore those things that were being widely shared on Facebook, and you know exactly what coach and quarterback think of what is going on off the field with a couple of their teammates. Anyhow, we're going to take one final break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up this edition of 580 Sports Talk after this. Wrapping up this edition of 580 Sports Talk with a final word. Spencer, what's your final word for today?
I mean, what else can you say about these Royals? They are just kicking butt. They've won 31 out of their first 50 games for the second time in franchise history. I guess make that 32, right? Because they won their 32nd game today.
32-19. Yep.
That was from yesterday that I saw from the MLB. But you got to continue to stack wins. It's going to be tough. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And if you're the Royals, you sweep teams you're supposed to sweep, you're going on a tough stretch here. But I think by the end of May, we'll have seen the Royals put 2 great months on the board that they can look back on in August when things might be tough and be like, that's why we're going to the postseason, because we're going to get through this rough stretch and we're going to take September and we're going into October.
Yeah, my final word is Royals related as well. This team sweeps a divisional opponent. They have not had a week this season, a Monday through Sunday week of baseball where they have been below 500. It has not happened. You have to go all the way back to the opening week, but that was only 3 games. So a full Monday to Sunday stretch of games. The Royals have not been below 500. And they won't be below 500 this week. They've already won 3 games this week. They've got 3 more to go as they head to Tampa Bay this weekend. The pitching, again, outstanding. What a trip through the rotation. And then Cole Reagans picks up the baton from Alec Marsh and sets a career high with 12 punch-outs this afternoon, out-dueling Tarek Skubal in a battle of American League Central Division aces. Big game, big homestand for Bobby Witt Jr. Big game for Nelson Velasquez, his second 2-hit game in his last 3 starts. Salvi's coming through. Vinny's coming through. The vibes are incredible with this ball club. They are a real joy to watch, and people from outside here in the greater Kansas City and outlying areas, people are starting to take notice that this Royals team has the juice to stick around. What else can you say about them? Maybe you just need to say this. The boys are playing some ball. That's going to do it for 580 Sports Talk today. We'll be back at it full show 2 to 6. Spencer and I live from Westridge Mall, the Topeka area Catbackers event. Hope to see you there. Until then, for Spencer and Brendan, I'm Dan. This has been 580 Sports Talk. See ya.